His own father gave him marijuana at 6 years old. Decades later, he would stand at the center of the entertainment world as the highest-paid actor on Earth and the face of a multi-billion-dollar cinematic universe. But long before the red carpets, Robert Downey Jr. was navigating a deeply unconventional childhood in 1960s New York. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was an underground filmmaker. Rules were practically non-existent, and chaos was the baseline. Downey's introduction to drugs happened within his own family. His father viewed sharing marijuana as a bonding ritual, a way for them to connect on an emotional level that traditional parenting couldn't reach. That environment wired a dangerous association into his psychology. Love, family, and connection became completely intertwined with substance abuse, a foundation so deeply rooted that no amount of future Hollywood success could outrun it. By the late 1980s, his acting career was accelerating rapidly. He landed a defining role in the film Less Than Zero, playing a wealthy kid spiraling into a severe heroin addiction. Critics praised it as a brilliant performance, but behind the scenes, his real life was beginning to perfectly mirror the script. The industry showered him with accolades. In 1992, he earned an Academy Award nomination for his portrayal of Charlie Chaplin. Directors and peers alike called him a generational talent. While he was receiving standing ovations and walking award stages, he was quietly consuming heroin and cocaine every single day. He lived a terrifying double life. On camera, he was a master of his craft, capable of executing flawless, complex performances. But the moment the director called cut, he was completely powerless against his own biology. The public facade finally shattered in 1996. Police pulled him over for speeding and found him driving naked with a loaded pistol, cocaine, and heroin in his vehicle. Just hours after being charged for that incident, an intensely intoxicated Downey wandered through the Malibu coastline, broke into a neighbor's house, and passed out in an empty child's bedroom. The legal system repeatedly tried to intervene with mandated rehab and probation. He missed multiple court-ordered drug tests, exhausting any remaining leniency from the judges involved. In 1999, the former Oscar nominee was sentenced to 3 years behind bars. He served a year at the California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility and State Prison, side by side with the general inmate population. He was paroled and managed to secure a role on the television show Ally McBeal, earning a Golden Globe for his performance. But a subsequent arrest for being under the influence led to his immediate firing. Police found him wandering barefoot through Culver City, broke and unemployable. The addiction had entirely eclipsed his immense talent. The brightest young star in the industry was now destitute, publicly disgraced, and considered radioactive by every studio in town. By 2003, Downey made the definitive decision to get clean. He committed to his recovery, but he quickly hit a massive wall. Nobody in Hollywood would hire him. It wasn't a question of his acting ability. It was pure financial calculus. Every major film requires an insurance bond to protect the massive financial investment of the production. Because of his history of arrests and prison time, underwriters refused to cover him. Without that insurance policy, putting him on a movie set was a literal impossibility. He needed a lifeline, and he got one from an unexpected source. Fellow actor Mel Gibson stepped in and paid the exorbitant liability premium out of his own pocket, so Downey could star in the 2003 film The Singing Detective. That single act of grace and financial backing gave Downey the leverage he needed. He showed up, hit his marks, stayed sober, and began the long, quiet process of rebuilding the trust of an entire industry. He spent the next few years deliberately taking roles in smaller, critically acclaimed films. He maintained his sobriety through a strict regimen of 12-step programs, therapy, and the uncompromising support of his wife, producer Susan Downey. Then came 2008. Marvel Studios was preparing to launch an ambitious new property, and director Jon Favreau wanted Downey for the lead. Marvel executives were terrified at the prospect of handing a $140 million budget to a man with a prison record, but Favreau fiercely fought for him. They eventually agreed, and the gamble paid off spectacularly. Iron Man grossed $585 million worldwide, instantly laying the bedrock for the most successful cinematic universe in film history. The man who was once completely uninsurable and unemployable was soon commanding $80 million a year, recognized globally as the highest-paid actor on the planet. For the first time in his adult life, his professional reputation matched his talent. That consistency allowed him to pivot from a high-risk gamble to the most essential asset in Hollywood, reaching a level of wealth and influence that his younger, uninsurable self could never have accessed. Today, he has maintained continuous sobriety for more than 15 years. He actively uses his platform to sit on the board of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, fighting to ensure that other former inmates receive the same second chances he did. His personal redemption was even validated on an institutional level. In 2015, the governor of California issued an official pardon, formally clearing his 1996 drug conviction. The ultimate artistic validation arrived in 2024, when he won the Academy Award for his role in Oppenheimer. Standing on stage, holding the trophy, he looked out at his peers and openly thanked his terrible childhood. And his momentum shows no signs of slowing. To the absolute shock of thousands at San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel announced his highly anticipated return to their cinematic universe. This time, not as a hero, but as the iconic villain, Dr. Doom. Robert Downey Jr.'s journey is proof that no human being is permanently defined by their lowest moments or their deepest traumas. If you or someone you know is struggling in the dark, share this story, because as long as you keep fighting, it is not too late.